60s overnight, partly to mostly clear, south wind up to 15 miles per hour. A windy day, a partly sunny sky for Wednesday, and the high 80 to 85, southwest wind up to 25. Chance of showers and thunderstorms by Thursday. Jonesboro, that's your KLEK 102.5 FM weather.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Iran says Israel's Prime Minister is an infamous liar after he revealed claims about a covert Tehran nuclear weapons program. The EU says it'll keep pushing for a permanent exemption to US steel and aluminium tariffs. Australia's most senior Catholic has been ordered by a magistrate in Melbourne to stand trial for historical sexual offence charges, and a new law in Scotland banning the sale of strong, cheap alcohol has come into force.
It's 9:01.
Community Conversations is brought to you by Arkansas Early Learning, offering no-cost childcare in Jonesboro and Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
KLEK 102.5 FM, good morning to you on... this is Tuesday. It's been a minute since I've done this. This is Community Conversations. Kato Wonder is flying solo in the studio with you. My co-host, well, actually my host, Quabila, is not here today, but joining us here today in the studio is Mr. Jeff Presley. Jeff is the current Craighead County E911 director, and he is also a Republican candidate running for Craighead County judge. And of course, let me go ahead and give the disclaimer. KLEK 102.5 FM and the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council does not endorse nor support any candidate for office, nor is any compensation provided for this interview. This interview is provided for educational purposes only, but we definitely do encourage you to vote for the candidates of your choice. The early voting period begins May 7th and election day is May 22nd. Of course, if you need more information on where to vote, definitely contact the Craighead County Clerk, Mr. K. Holliday. So, Jeff, thank you for stopping by the studio today. How you doing today?
Hey, doing great. I appreciate this opportunity and appreciate the work you guys do in our community here. It's a beautiful day in Craighead County.
Absolutely. And, of course, for those of you that may not know, Jeff actually ran for Craighead County judge last time, and during the Republican primary in that last race, I believe we're talking off there, he said he won by 24 votes and lost the general election by, it was 100 and something?
177.
177. Now, the reason why I say this is, again, this is not an endorsement of Jeff, but it's to show how important it is to vote, because, and I'll just use that primary example, if those 12 people had decided to stay home, then there would have been another nominee in the Republican primary for that race. So that's why every vote counts, because an election could be decided by very few votes. So I just want to put that out there. No matter who you decide to support in this race, make sure that you do vote, because your vote does count. So my first question, Jeff, is what lessons have you taken from the last time that you ran that you're using for this race? Any lessons that you learned, anything that you're doing different this time from as opposed to last time?
Absolutely, and you just hit the nail on the head there. Every vote does count. Every single vote in Craighead County is important, and this is a big election for us. This is the first term that the judge will be 4 years instead of 2 years. So it's going to give us the opportunity to go in and get some work done before you have to turn around and start campaigning again. But I believe some of the lessons learned from the first go-around, the first election, was, it's all about the community forums, getting out there, getting your message across, laying out your plans, the structure of what you've got ahead of you. And I truly enjoy those forums where we can talk to the citizens one-on-one. And also on the radio where we have call-ins and social media. So it's, I think, very important, that face-to-face contact and getting your message out.
And speaking of comments. We already got some comments on our Facebook live feed. David Carnes says, good morning to everyone at KLEK. And also to Jeff, I'm voting for Jeff because he will help in rebuilding our rural community relations as well as managing our roads and be more responsible in our taxpayer dollars. A vote for Jeff is a vote for a better Craighead County. Jeff Presley for Craighead County Judge. Again, that comes from David Carnes. And Quabila says, good morning, Laganzi and Mr. Jeff. Well, good morning, Quabila. So,
good morning.
And of course, if you have a question or a comment for Jeff, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080. Once again, the phone number is 870-277-1080, or you can weigh in on our Facebook live feed. So you mentioned about the community forums and appearing on this program and appearing on other media outlets. So what is the feedback that you've gotten from these appearances? I've been to one event where you and your opponent were together, and I actually watched another occasion where you all were together, and I think there's been like one more event like at Lake City in which the two of you were together, and of course you've done some individual functions as well. So what's the feedback that you've gotten?
Well, there's a lot of questions coming in from the citizens. The younger folks in Craighead County, it's a little bit confusing for them whenever you say county judge. In Arkansas, a county judge is pretty much a county mayor. You're the custodian over the property, the road departments, and you're there as a resource for the elected officials. In Tennessee, they call it a county mayor. But a lot of folks, they think judge, and they think of a judicial judge sitting before a jury. In Arkansas, a county judge is pretty much a county mayor. So you're over that budget, the grant process, and the road department. So you have several employees working with you. And I think a lot of the concerns, once education and it's cleared up the roles and duties of a county judge, a lot of the concerns is drainage. Here in Craighead County, around Jonesboro, we've had a lot of flooding issues over the past. So that's a big issue, and it should be. We're looking at a plan of a roadmap for the future, if you will, to see where this drainage, what we can do to improve that. I think for the economic development of Craighead County, we have to have that plan in place.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that has been one of the centerpieces of your campaign, to talk about drainage. And another thing that you have mentioned, you mentioned this in your last campaign and you brought up in this campaign, if you are elected Craighead County Judge. And before I get into this question, one thing I do want to stress to the listeners is Mr. Presley and Mr. Day, the other candidate, both are running as Republicans. There are no Democrats in the race. So one of those two men will be elected the county judge in this May 22nd primary. And if you want to vote for either Mr. Presley or Mr. Day, then you need to request the Republican ballot. If you request the Democratic or the independent ballot, that race will not be on that ballot. So again, I'm not saying which one you should vote for, but if you want to support either one, you would need to choose the Republican ballot. And even if you are a Democrat or an independent, you can still vote Democrat or independent in the general election in November. But as far as this election, then you would have to choose the Republican ballot. And this race will be decided by the primary, since there is no Democrat or no independent that filed for the Craighead County Judge position. So I wanted to definitely get that information out there. Now, getting back to my question for Mr. Presley, one of the main things that you have talked about is the issue of grants. You said if you are elected, you are going to first get the county in compliance so that grants can be applied for. You've mentioned that currently the county is out of compliance for grants, and then you want to pursue grants to help to fund projects and to accomplish other things. So just kind of break that down, starting with what does it mean? Because there's been some back and forth and some debate, and I'll admit I'm not as educated on as I probably should be on that process. But as far as like being out of compliance and what you would do if elected to get back into compliance, and then what would you do if elected to secure those grants, and what would those grants be spent on? I know I just probably asked a lot.
Well, let me go back a little bit from the last election. What prompted me to join this race in the first place? You know, my background in 911. I've spent going on 27 years now in public service for Craighead County and Jonesboro as your 911 director and training officer. And I know the needs on the emergency management side. And we had some schools that applied for safe room grants through the state, through the federal government. Those grants was denied simply because the county was out of compliance with a all hazards mitigation plan. It's a 5-year plan. It's a comprehensive plan, should be a live document that's always been upgraded to keep our schools, hospitals, everybody in the loop on emergency management. Once I found out we was denied simply because we were out of compliance, I felt that somebody needed to step up that had knowledge of these grants and of these systems and make sure that we're covered. I networked throughout the state of Arkansas with several county judges to see what they're doing. Some of the counties, it's on the right track because the last thing we want to do is reinvent the wheel. So if it's working for them, let's bring that knowledge to Craighead County. Let's make sure that Craighead County and Jonesboro is getting their share of the federal and state grants to keep our children safe. And that goes along with the drainage and the road infrastructure. If you got all those components in place and you're getting your share of those grants, that's going to help our economic development, recruiting new jobs coming into Craighead County. So I think it's very important, you know, those systems are in place for a reason, and we should always be in compliance and make sure we're on top of that game.
Okay, and continue on the topic of grants and emergency management. How do you feel that your experience doing E911 can help you in your role as county judge? Because one of the things about having a county system is, okay, you know, you have the larger city of Jonesboro, which, you know, has the funding and resources, but then you have the smaller unincorporated communities, the smaller towns who may not have the budgets for big fancy fire trucks or other sophisticated emergency response equipment. So how can you, if you are elected Craighead County judge, use your experience to help those communities that don't have the resources? How would you bring your E911 experience to the county judge level?
That's a very good question. You know, with my background at 911, I am currently a liaison officer for the Department of Homeland Security. And what that means is I work closely with the federal and the State of Management Association, emergency management, to make sure we're covered. We have several areas that we need improvement on as far as emergency management in Craighead County. Under the judge's office is the Office of Emergency Management. If you look at that system, a lot of it is set up for volunteers, CERT teams, community emergency response teams, and things like that. Right now, we do not have active teams on the ground training. And you know, we live on the New Madrid seismic zone, so earthquake preparedness is a big thing. We need to be prepared for all hazards, but the grant opportunities to help us get that equipment, get the volunteers in there, that's the key to it, making sure that we are prepared. And you know, I've been approached by several groups of volunteers ready to go, boots on the ground, ready to help with the CERT teams, and also with what we call the Craighead County Green Team. We're going to have a cleanup team with county resources to clean up trash dumps, illegal dump sites. Anything that's going on in our county, we're going to help.
All right, and definitely appreciate you for the answer. We got another Facebook shout out to Viola Speed. And of course, if you got a question or a comment for Mr. Jeff Presley, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080. Again, that phone number is 870-277-1080, or you can weigh in on our Facebook live feed. So Jeff, if you get elected day one, you're sitting in that chair, what are you gonna do?
Day one, we're going to start team building. It's all about a good, solid team. This is not a one-man show. We're going to be a resource for all the municipalities in Craighead County. So day one, we're going to reach out to all the county mayors, emergency managers, the fire chiefs in the county. We're going to start building those working relationships from day one. It's all about good, clear communication, and we're going to establish an open and transparent office.
And speaking of communication, and this was a question that I asked your opponent as well, if you are elected Craighead County Judge, would you be willing to come on to this program and other media outlets on a consistent basis to keep the citizens informed on things that are going on, kind of like how we do with Jonesboro Police Chief Rick Elliott? One thing that is going on the county level is Craighead County Clerk Kate Holliday live streams the quorum court meeting. So would you be willing to do that if you are elected?
Absolutely. It's about getting that information about what your government is doing, what they're planning to do, and interacting with the citizens. Because when it comes down to it, it's not the county judge's office, it's the citizen's office. They elect him. They should have answers. So, in my plans, we're looking at quarterly town hall meetings, an open forum where we'll show you exactly what's moving, what's going to move, our budget status, any major projects coming up. So yes, absolutely, I would enjoy being on the program and talking about that.
Okay, and you mentioned the budget and transparency. Of course, in times past, there's been controversies about the budget and where certain monies have gone and not certain things not being able to get funded. So how are you going to tackle those issues if you are elected Craighead County Judge?
Well, there again, with the team approach, I think we need to do an assessment of everything that's moving financially in Craighead County. Let's look at ways to save money. It's right now our tax base is flat pretty much in Jonesboro and Craighead County. Sales tax is low. We can't depend on just a sales tax to operate the county, so that's where a lot of these grants and supplements are going to come in from the state and the Fed to help us maintain the roadways, the emergency infrastructure. But I think it's going to be a teamwork approach with all employees to see where we can cut those corners. I'm a firm believer in supporting our local vendors, our local businesses. That hadn't happened in the past. A lot of people's contacted me wanting to know about bid sheets, how they bid on products for the county. That's going to be an open process. So I think it's taking care of people at home and keeping that money at home to help us all.
All right, and another thing that I want to mention is you talk about getting money via grants. Now, one thing that happens on the city level that Mayor Perrin has been a big proponent of is public-private partnerships, getting businesses to contribute to fund projects, to help bring things to the city. If you are elected Craighead County Judge, will you do that on the county level?
Absolutely. I've been involved in some projects around the county, and a lot of the questions coming in from citizens is what can we do to make this a more friendly area for families for the weekends, instead of families having to pack up and go out of town for entertainment purposes, parks, recreation. What can we bring to Craighead County to enhance that lifestyle? Well, if you start looking at some of our rural towns, it's let's take Caraway for instance. They've got a ballpark there with a long history. I mean, they've had over the years many tournaments, big turnouts. That system has kind of dried up and died out. Let's help them build that back and bring people back to those areas. I think the teamwork approach, working with the mayors and the city councils around Craighead County, that we can come up with some good plans. A lot of the grants right now are focused for greenways, bike trails, walking trails, and things like that. Let's take advantage of those grants while they're out there, and let's make a healthy Craighead County and make it enjoyable for everybody.
All right, we are speaking with Mr. Jeff Presley, Republican candidate for Craighead County Judge. Don't forget, early voting starts May 7th and Election Day is May 22nd. And early voting is, of course, going to be at the Election Annex on Jefferson. And, of course, you can get more information from Craighead County Clerk Kate Holliday on any questions or concerns that you may have about voting. Once again, I want to emphasize that this race for the Craighead County Judge, there are two two Republicans running, Mr. Presley and Mr. Day, and there are no Democrats and there are no independents running. So if you want to support either candidate, then you will need to request the Republican ballot. And you can do that even if you are not a registered Republican. If you are a Democrat or an independent, you can still request that Republican ballot and vote for either candidate, and that doesn't affect who you vote for in the general election. If you vote for one of these candidates in this primary and you decide to vote for in another race in the general for a Democratic candidate or an independent candidate, you can still do that as well. So if you have an interest in this race, if you feel passionately about either candidate, then be sure to select the Republican ballot when you cast your vote. Again, not saying who to vote for, but we definitely want you to vote because every vote matters and every vote counts. And like Mr. Presley said, one of these two men is going to be your Craighead County judge for the next 4 years, and a lot can happen in 4 years. So make sure that you have a say in whichever man that you want to sit in that position, because once you elect that person, you stuck with them. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, because we've had Mr. Day on and we have Mr. Presley on now, and I think either one will do a good job. I think we both are very qualified and very good people. But again, educate yourself, find out where they stand on the issues, hit them up. They both have Facebook pages, and then when you step in that booth, make your choice. I can't stress that enough. We're gonna get ready to go to break. And of course, you can still leave your questions and comments on our Facebook Live feed or give us a call at 870-277-1080. Don't go anywhere. This is KLEK on 2.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
How much does the world weigh? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. If you really want to know, ask a single parent. Their job is never ending. Their work is never done. Day after day, they carry the load alone. No wonder they often feel like they had the whole world on their shoulders. So, how can we help single moms and dads? Start with the little things. The next time you're washing the car, offer to wash theirs too. Drop off dinner, or watch their children for the evening so they can have a little time to themselves. Being a parent is a big job. Being a single parent is an even bigger one. So lighten their load and help take the world off their shoulders. Remember, your family first.
Want to connect with Mark on Facebook? You can at facebook.com/Mark Merrill. The Family Minute with Mark Merrill, helping families love well.
Family Minute is made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a non-profit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook and KNOMEGA1908.com.
Family Minute is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
Meineke of Jonesboro is now Starks Auto Service, a full-service auto repair and vehicle maintenance center offering engine and transmission repair, brake service, tires, oil changes, and more, performed by ASE certified mechanics. The all-new Starks Auto Service, 2813 South Caraway Road in Jonesboro, 870-204-7112. Starks Auto Service, Jonesboro.com. KLEK thanks C.J. Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com.
Tune in to Community Conversations every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. here on KLEK 102.5 FM. Join host Quabila Jones-Harden as she talks to people who are making a difference in the community and learn about the people and organizations that provide services to make Jonesboro a better place. Community Conversations every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Hello, I'm Officer Victoria Evans. I have always had a desire to help others in need and to be an example and role model to young women by encouraging them to never give up on their dreams. My dream was to become a police officer and to serve my community. In 2016, that dream became a reality, and it is the most rewarding experience of my life. Now I want to let you know about the same opportunity. The Jonesboro Police Department will conduct testing every month for patrol officers. Applications are available online at jonesboropolice.com or at the Police Department, 1001 South Caraway Road. The Jonesboro Police Department offers a competitive salary, health, and retirement benefits, top-of-the-line training, and most importantly, the chance to make a difference in the Jonesboro community. Join me in making Jonesboro a better place. The Jonesboro Police Department is an equal opportunity employer, and women and minorities are especially encouraged to apply. More information is available at 870-935-5657.
The Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was established on June 28, 1997 by 13 dynamic women who accepted the challenge and honor of chartering the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter. Today, the chapter continues to impact the Jonesboro community by sponsoring programs such as the Sonia D. Williams Scholarship Breakfast, Back to School Bash, Disaster Preparedness, Delta Academy, Empower African Girls, and Autism Awareness. Our focus correlates with the national theme, uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. Our chapter supports Delta's 5-point programmatic thrusts: economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. More information about the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is available at www.jonesboroalumnidst.org or via email jonesboroalumni@live.com.
The Epic Center, located at 1899 Hasbrook Road, County Road 333, is Jonesboro's newest venue for entertainment for the entire family. They offer an auditorium with theater-style seating for up to 1,100 guests, a large stage, professional lighting and sound, dressing rooms, concessions, and more. Available for weddings, concerts, pageants, birthday parties, showers, and more. Booking and other information is available at Epic Center Jonesboro on Facebook, epiccenterjonesboro.com, and at 870-530-5841.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations with our guest, Mr. Jeff Presley, who is the current Craighead County E911 director and Republican candidate for Craighead County Judge. And of course, if you have a question for Mr. Presley, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080, or you can weigh in on our Facebook live feed. And we do have another Facebook shout out to Blake Easley, Jeff for Judge. And of course, shout out to you, Blake. Blake is a good guy. We do the trunk or treat. Looking forward to that next. Excuse me, trunk or treat. That was definitely a fun event. So, getting back to our conversation with Mr. Presley, another issue that people feel strongly about is the issue of the Lake City Courthouse. Now, I don't know all the details about it, but I know there's some concern. There's been some concerns in the past that that courthouse could be closed or that staff could be reduced there. So, if you could kind of just educate the listeners about that situation, as well as if you are elected Craighead County Judge, what you will do about it.
Well, the Lake City Courthouse has been a big issue, and it has some personal history for me. I was born and raised in the Eastern District, small town of Caraway. Lake City Courthouse, the old courthouse that was there for many years on the square, the 2-story white building. That's where I got my first driver's license. I had been in that building. That was part of that Eastern District history over there. The courthouse serves a very important purpose over there for the folks. And now we see a lot of people from Jonesboro area to bypass the wait in line. They go over there to renew tags and do business. So I feel that it's very important to our county, and it's something that we need to support. And if elected, the only thing I would change is enhance and make sure we've got a nice facility over there and keep the folks working. Because we're living in a county that's growing. We're blessed right now that our county is actually expanding and growing. So yes, that's a resource that we need to keep.
And since you mentioned about the county is growing, of course, I don't know what the year is, but we're going to hit 100,000, and we're going to hit it sooner rather than later. And once we hit that, then everything changes, because I think we begin classified as like a major city at that point. Once that happens, how would that affect the county, and have you started thinking about how you would address that if you are elected?
Well, we look at the trends, and yes, Jonesboro is going to reach that mark pretty quick. I think one of the big issues with that growth is the drainage right now out in the county. The city of Jonesboro has done a great job cleaning out the drainage ditches throughout the city. But when it reaches the county or the city limits there, we have a backup simply because the drainage in the county has been let go for several years. We have drainage ditches that's grown up with trees and saplings, culverts stopped up. So I think it's going to take a county judge that's going to be able to work with the drainage districts and the municipalities. Let's make sure that we've got that all in place, because the last thing we need is to build apartments or factories and then have them flood. So we need to take care of that infrastructure and prepare for this growth.
And we got a comment from Cade Holiday. Cade says 107,115 is the latest census projection as of last December 2017. And I'm assuming that's for the county. So pretty much countywide, we're already there.
We are there.
And of course, the city, again, will be there very soon itself. And I guess that kind of transitions into traffic. Now, obviously, with you being a county judge, you'll be more involved on the county level as opposed to the city. But anyone who's taking a drive through the city of Jonesboro knows that traffic is just horrible. But a consequence of that, you're seeing people that are moving to these other areas outside of Jonesboro. So, you're going to have traffic patterns shift there as well. So it kind of goes back to, looking ahead to the future. So my next question is, what kind of partnerships, if you are elected Craighead County Judge, would you have with Arkansas State University as well as other major stakeholders in Jonesboro and in the county? And how this actually affects the county?
Well, with the small towns becoming what we call bedroom communities for Jonesboro, that's a lot of folks moving to those small areas and working in Jonesboro. So it's very important for us to maintain those county roads and make sure that we've got a roadmap of the future for upgrades. A little history of Craighead County. We got, under the county judge's office, 1,300 miles of roadway. Only 200 miles of that 13 is paved. So the rest of it's unimproved gravel roadway. So in order to fulfill our goals for those small cities to be bedroom communities, we're going to have to upgrade some of those roads. And when we do it, we need to make sure that that road bed is prepared and ready for that. I think a lot of our issues with the roads in Craighead County is we are reactive. We wait till we have a problem and fix it. We're going to have to be proactive and get a plan for the future to upgrade. And we're going to do this on a priority basis by doing road counts, traffic counts, and things like that with schools, churches, cemeteries, things like that as a priority.
All right, once again, we are speaking with Mr. Jeff Presley, Republican candidate for Craighead County Judge. And, of course, you can get your questions in on our Facebook Live feed. And, of course, shout out to Kate Holiday, Pamela Coleman Kale, and let me see who else has checked in on our live feed. We actually Viola Turner. So appreciate everyone who has checked in. Oh, and Wes Baxter. So appreciate everyone who has checked in on our live feed. We appreciate each and every one of you. Again, Absolutely. This is very important that you hear from the candidates and make the proper choice that you feel will best represent you and represent know where you stand for. So is there anything that we didn't cover, any issues that you feel passionately about that you want to talk to the listeners about?
You know, one of the big issues facing the citizens of Craighead County that can impact all of us and our family is emergency services. That's my background, and one of the issues that we're facing right now has been a problem for several years. Our county volunteer fire departments, you know, that's the guys that give up their time from their families, from their kids' ball games, to respond to motor vehicle accidents, to house fires. Right now they're working on a radio system that is antiquated, that is just sporadic, whether it's going to work or not. This is their only means of communications besides a personal cell phone. So when we dispatch the fire departments out to an incident, it's hit or miss whether they're going to get that transmission simply because of the equipment being outdated. We've tried to get funding for this in the past, but this needs to be a priority. These folks are giving their time and their effort, putting their lives on the line for Craighead County citizens free of charge. The least we can do is make sure they've got good equipment, good radio equipment, and to me this is going to be a high priority. We've got to secure funding, and I think there's going to be some grants open up within the next 2 years that will help us replace that. We can't do a quick fix. This has to be a long-term solution. This is very important for all of Craighead County. The first thing a factory or any industry coming into our area, what they want to know is, how are you going to protect us? How are you going to protect our workers? Without a good, solid communication system for these volunteer departments, we can't. So I think that's something that needs to be talked about and put on the top of that list.
And of course, one thing for those of you that may not realize, in these smaller communities, especially the fire departments, these are volunteer fire departments. These aren't people who get a salary. These are people who basically, if there's a fire call, they stop what they're doing. They have to run to the local firehouse, put on their gear, fire up the truck, and go ahead to put the fire out. It's not like in the city of Jonesboro where they have dedicated shifts where they are already at the fire station ready to go. They actually have to mobilize to get to it and take care of a situation. So just want to put that
absolutely
information out there.
And you know, it not only affects the safety part of it, but the financial side of it. Without a good, solid communication system, your insurance rates, your ISO ratings for home ownership and insurance and businesses is going to be higher. So that we're all stakeholders in this. It's time to take care of it.
Alrighty. Once again, we are speaking with Mr. Jeff Presley, running for Craighead County Judge. And again, I want to remind everyone that this election will be for a 4-year term, and both of the candidates running are running on the Republican ballot. So if you want to vote for either candidate, when they ask you which ballot that you want, you have to select the Republican ballot. If you select the Democratic or the independent ballot, this race will not be on that ballot. Now, if you do choose the Republican ballot, you still can vote for any Republican, Democrat, or independent in the general election, but it's just for the primary. But because there are no Democrats or no independents that filed to run for Craighead County Judge, this election will be decided on May 22nd. And early voting starts May 7th at the Craighead County Election Annex. So no matter which one that you vote for, definitely get your vote out and make your voice known. Got another Facebook shout out to Victoria Evans. She says, "Go Jeff." Shout out to you, Victoria. Of course, Victoria did a PSA for us for the Jonesboro Police Department. I definitely appreciate her for that, and all of the people in the Jonesboro Police Department. So, speaking of police, since we just had a comment from a police officer, if you are elected Craighead County Judge, what will you do to help the police departments, especially those rural police departments? We talked about the fire departments, but what about for those police departments and those constables as well that help to patrol out in the county, and the sheriff's department?
Absolutely. You know, one of the issues, not only in this area in Craighead County, but statewide that we're facing is the mental health issue in police work. You know, for many years it's been an issue. I worked with the sheriff's department years ago. It was an issue back then. 20 years ago it was an issue. But right now, they're having to arrest some people that has mental illness. Not really a crime, but there's no in-between help for those folks. And we got a grant that we're working on, a mental health treatment facility, assessment center, if you will. That's very important for the future of law enforcement in Craighead County. And it's going to take a teamwork approach with all police department, mayors, judges. Everybody's got to be on board, but we got to look at that long-term plan to handle this situation. If you look at the jail, right now we're staying full a lot. The sheriff has talked about we need expansion. We need a bigger jail. That's going to be in our future. So with these things in law enforcement, public safety should be number one. Your tax dollars goes to protect you and your family and your property. So I think when we start looking at those issues, we have to have some type of solid plan for that future, how we're going to take care of this and meet those needs.
And you mentioned about the crisis center, and I'm glad you brought that up, because for those of you that may not know, Craighead County received a grant to build a mental health crisis unit. Sheriff Boyd has been actively looking for a facility to house it. There was a facility over on 141 North, I believe it was a former nursing home. The owner was willing to donate it for not only just this crisis unit, but for a homeless shelter as well. There was some resistance from property owners in the area, and so that fell through. And then Sheriff Boyd has looked for some other facilities and has met similar resistance as well. So if you are elected Craighead County Judge, what could you or would you do to help to find a facility to where people can get the mental help they need to help the homeless, but also be acceptable to those in the surrounding area? Because for those opposed, the big concern is that these people are going to be wandering around in their neighborhoods, or potential criminals or things like that. But give us your thoughts.
Like I said, this is a big problem that a lot of people that they don't see on a daily basis. Working in law enforcement for 27 years as a support with the 911, we see it every day. We see a lot of things that's troubling in our communities and our county. And I think it's going to take a statewide approach to making this a better area for the mental health issues. If you look at the grant that you mentioned, that's for operational side only. It would not pay for actually construction. So it's very costly to operate those centers, and you have to have facilities in order for long-term treatment of those. So it's a big issue that's a growing issue. And yes, some of the mental illness that we're dealing with now is self-induced by drugs. That's a big issue in our state. I think if we can start drug awareness programs early in our schools, if we can mitigate some of those young people going that direction, I think that's going to help the system. But it's going to take a statewide effort, everybody on the same page, making sure that we have a plan to handle this in our future.
We got a couple more Facebook shout-outs. Shout out to Quabila, who has a question, which I'll get to in just a second, and Amanda Moffitt Donovan. Quabila asks, how does Jeff feel about working with local college students in an internship basis that are studying various courses, such as engineering or agriculture, that may be beneficial to helping the county officials with planning improvements in and around the county?
That's a great question, and if you look at our young people that's in emergency management, we've been using them for years in 911 to help us do programs. We start early, even with the East Labs in our schools. Some of the experience we had with those young people that's very, very smart, mapping out the school areas for emergency management. They've actually helped us build websites. When you get to ASU, you start looking at the new emergency management programs they have out there. We've met with those folks several times. we plan to incorporate some of those young folks and their knowledge into our CERT teams and community involvement teams. JHS, I was out there about a month ago, met with a group out there, and we did a video about the history of the tornadoes in Craighead County and Jonesboro back in 1973 when the school was blown away. We have to engage those young minds. That's our future. That's our complete future, is those young minds, and I believe that we should utilize that knowledge every opportunity we get.
And definitely can agree with that. Again, not endorsing a candidate, but the youth are our future, and whoever gets elected to any position needs to engage the youth, because as they were saying, they're going to be the ones that are going to take care of us when we all get old. So
absolutely.
Alrighty, so my next question is, if you are elected Craighead County Judge, obviously that means you would have to step down from your position as E911 Director. One, will you actually miss it? And two, will the E911 department still be in good hands after you leave if you are elected?
This will be 27 years in the 911 business, and I love it. I've got a passion for helping people as a public servant. I've got a good team of people up there, 21 full-time people that works 24/7, holidays, weekends. They're there for you to answer that call. They're like family to me, and I've seen a lot of them come and go through the years. I would miss it, but the good part about it, once I'm county judge, I'm still involved because the city contracts 911 services out to Craighead County. So I still want to be involved with that. I would still like to be a reserve 911 dispatcher to be involved. We pulled that 911 center up from the ground, and now we are in the top 2 in the state of Arkansas, not only in technology but in training. I didn't do it by myself. I did it with a good team of people and the leadership in the city, with Mayor Perry helping us out, and the governor's office. So I take great pride in that center and the people working there, and I always want to be involved in public safety in Craighead County. And as your judge, I want to bring that out, to the public, to show them exactly what they're doing, not to just be boastful, but to let them know that we're taking care of you.
All right, and we are speaking with Mr. Jeff Presley, Republican candidate for Craighead County Judge. Getting ready to go to a break, but when we come back from our break, we're going to wrap up our interview with Mr. Presley, get any final thoughts or comments from him, and he's going to give a final pitch on why he feels you should elect him to be the next Craighead County Judge. He got a little tongue twisted there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more. This is KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. Many adult children are returning home to live with their parents, and more people who are related to each other are choosing to share residences, at least temporarily, to get through tough times. Whether willingly or grudgingly, you may be put into the position of considering this option. If so, follow these ground rules to keep both your finances and your family relationships intact. First, you need to be clear that they are not staying with you as family or guests, but as tenants, sharing your space. Follow that up with a written agreement clearly laying out rules, requirements, and expectations, and a deadline for when the living arrangement will end. Do not hesitate to make working a job, searching for employment, pursuing an education, or some combination of these a condition of their staying with you. After all, your goal should be to help your child or other relative transition back to independence, not create a new expectation of indefinite dependency on you. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. 5 locations in Jonesboro to serve you. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
Danny Ford, owner of Glen Saint Motors in Paragould, strongly believes in the values of family and hard work with a commitment to the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces who keep America free, providing sales and servicing of Chevys, GMCs, Buicks, and Cadillacs, located at 6345 Highway 49 in Paragould. 870-565-4358. Details at glensaintparagould.com and at klekfm.org. God bless our troops.
Teresa Beck, owner of Full Sun Gifts, 606 Southwest Drive in Jonesboro, is a proud supporter of KLEK. Full Sun Gifts offers a variety of gift ideas such as candles, fragrances, bath and body products, makeup, cosmetics, skincare, and more for birthdays, weddings, holidays, and all occasions. Details at Full Sun Gifts on Facebook and Instagram and 870-974-8480.
The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was established on January 1st, 1977, originally serving Blytheville, Arkansas, and now serving Jonesboro, Blytheville, Osceola, Marion, and West Memphis, Arkansas. Today, the chapter continues to make an impact by focusing on Alpha's national community outreach initiatives such as My Brother's Keeper, A Voteless People is a Hopeless People, Go to High School, Go to College, Project Alpha, Boy Scouts, and the March of Dimes. The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is committed to Alpha's mission of developing leaders, promoting brotherhood and academic excellence, while providing service and advocacy to the community. More information about the Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is available at MOL Alphas on Facebook or via email at molalphas@gmail.com.
The McDaniel Law Firm, 400 South Main Street in Jonesboro, is a firm believer in justice and equality for the minority community. The McDaniel Law Firm has fought for our rights for over 44 years. The McDaniel Law Firm offers legal help for wrongful death as well as trucking and automobile accidents. Bobby and Brett McDaniel are available for a free consultation at 870-336-4747 or at www.mcdaniellawyers.com. House of Details, located at 3217 Herb Street, Suite C, is a proud supporter of KLEK, offering detailing on any type of vehicle: waxing, clear coat protection, basic wash, hand wash, shampoo, interior cleaning, buffering, headlight restoration, pickup, delivery, and more. With a motto of, anything mean, we can clean. Details available via Quentin Bogard at 870-273-5187. House of Details on Facebook and houseofdetailsjonesboro.com. Check out the Dorinda Clark Cole Radio Show every Sunday at 4 o'clock p.m. Listen as Dorinda plays the very best in contemporary gospel music and interviews all of your favorite gospel artists. The Dorinda Clark Cole Radio Show every Sunday at 4 p.m. on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLEK with our guest, Mr. Jeff Presley, Republican candidate for Craighead County Judge. Don't forget, early voting starts May 7th, and the election is May 22nd. And of course, early voting will be at the Craighead County Courthouse, and you can get more information about voting from Craighead County Clerk Cade Holliday. Again, we do not endorse nor support any candidate for office, but we definitely encourage you to get out to vote. And I do want to remind everyone once again that Both candidates in this race are Republican. There are no Democrats. There are no independents. So if you want to vote for either candidate, then ask for the Republican ballot. And you can do that in the primary and still vote for any party that you want to vote for in the general election. So in our final segment, Jeff, just tell the listeners why you feel that they should elect you to be Craighead County Judge.
Well, you know, it's not about a title of being a judge. It's not about the pay. It's about community service. And I spent 27 years in community service for Craighead County. I want to bring that experience to work for the citizens. I want to make sure that we're taken care of. I think this first 4-year term is very important. This will be the first Republican judge for Craighead County. I think it's time to go to work and have the citizens involved in that process. I think what we're looking at on this race is, you know, you're looking at experience versus promises. I'm going to bring my experience to work for you day one.
All right. And of course, again, the election is May 22nd and early voting starts on May 7th. So make sure that you make your voice known. Not just this race, but all of the races. Study the candidates for all the races. Educate yourself on the races. If you contact Craighead County Clerk Kate Holliday, you can get a sample ballot. You can see what races are on your ballot so that you can be informed on the candidates running for the offices and elect the people that you feel that best represents you. And of course, we here at KLK will do our best to try to get the various candidates for offices on this show all throughout election season. Of course, the most important thing that we do stress is that you exercise your right to vote, because as my fraternity says, a voteless people is a hopeless people. Got a couple more Facebook shout out to Shadrick Turner and Mark Pillow. Appreciate you all for checking in on our Facebook live feed. Appreciate each and every one of you that has checked in on our Facebook live feed today. We could not do this without each and every one of you, so we are just thankful for each and every one of you for checking in today. We're thankful for Jeff for stopping by the studio today. Again, this was actually impromptu. He was originally scheduled for May 9th, but we realized, May 2nd, excuse me, wait a minute. That's Chief Elliott's day, so we couldn't bump. Sorry, Jeff, we couldn't bump you for Chief.
That's good.
So we rescheduled it for May 9th, but we had a cancellation. So I contacted Jeff. I said, "Well, you want to come today because we want you to hear from both candidates. We already heard from Mr. Day earlier, and we wanted you to hear from Jeff today. So now that you've heard from both candidates, go back, rewatch the video, rewatch Marvin Day's interview. It aired April 20th." Study about each candidate and then vote for the one that you feel best represents you. Again, we're not going to tell you which one to vote for, but we are going to tell you to vote and exercise your right to vote, because no vote, no voice. All right, Jeff, we got 2 minutes. Any final thoughts, any shout outs, anything else?
You know, I just want to say a big thank you to the citizens of Craighead County. Throughout this process, I have got so many calls, messages, and letters. People just wanting to help, interested in our county government. It makes me feel proud that we've got people involved in our community. We're all in this game together. This is not a one-man show. This is something we have to do as a community. And I'm just thankful, and we're so truly blessed to live in Craighead County with some great people. And I just want to say thank you.
All right, and we definitely are a blessed community. Definitely can endorse that. Cannot endorse the candidate, but I can endorse that we are a blessed community. And we're blessed that we have people who are willing to step up to want to represent you, that are willing to put themselves out there for public service. It's a sacrifice no matter who wins the election. So we're just thankful for all of the candidates who have put themselves out there to serve you. And so since those candidates have put themselves out there to serve you, then do your part to vote for the one that best represents you. Once again, thank you, Jeff, for stopping by the studio today. I wish you the best of luck. I wish Mr. Day the best of luck. I wish each and every candidate running the best of luck. And I definitely want to say thank you to each and every one of you that are listening, because we would not be here without you. May God bless and keep each and every one of you. This is Community Conversations. This is KLEK 102.5 FM.